Please note that this chess game features scenes of a very violent nature. Parental discretion is advised because we've got Magnum Carlos playing with the white pieces here. Shout out to Sondre for emailing me through that picture. Love hearing from you all in email, pictures, jokes, games, whatever it might be. Plus down in the comments, please do keep them coming. We like to keep it fun here on Epic Cheese. And who's Magnus playing? Well, you don't get many like this. His name's Christopher, hailing from the States, just a youngster, a teenager, but what a talent. He's got the black pieces, title Tuesday, end of July, late tournament. Magnus is onto a stormer here, and he hits Christopher with just the most devastating attack. Wait till you see this double sacrifice on the way. So Magnus kicks off with knight f3. Both players get the ponies out. Who needs pawns? Now we see g3. Magnus builds the little banana hammock. d5 takes the center, and the bishop tucks itself in, hits the long diagonal. Now we get e6, and Magnus castles on move 4. His coach immensely proud from the sidelines. That's what you call a safe king. Now we get bishop e7. d3 looks for some expansion on c4, e4 later in the game, and it just gets better for the kings. We get castles played, and both players do a nod. A king safety high five, tickle out the fingers, they're happy as can be. And Magnus now doesn't go rook e1 or some kind of centre advance. He plays a4, making Stock Barnacle proud. These modern computers love a space game with a rook's pawn. Try it in your own games. Results may vary in terms of how good it is. And now we see the advance of the c pawn. The centre's under siege, so Magnus fights back against it. And hang on, he's getting his dream come true. The lady's about to leave the board, loves himself an endgame, or would this be a queenless middle game? No one really knows. It's driven many a chess player insane, but it doesn't happen. We get knight c6. The queen trade declined. Magnus also declines it. Very unusual for him. His hand starts shaking, kicks on with the pawn. Yes, he gives up the d5 square, but with this one, you can now base an attack around it. Many chess books have been written about the attacking power of a pawn on e5. You know, you clear the e4 square for a knight. You can attack down this diagonal, etc. So queen e2 now played by Magnus. We get b6, nice little connect 3. Yu gives himself a pat on the back. Now we see c3 from Magnus, and that's the sensible move. Take control of some dark squares. Don't get too trigger happy with the most explosive move, c4. Queen c7 now played, very natural, bit of pressure here, supports the knight, and rook e1, no it's not, knight bd2 first, bishop b7, now rook e1, this one holding onto the pawn, you've got to overprotect that, you can't let it drop off the board. Now this rook centralizes, nice play from you, and how to proceed as white, you know, what's the plan here? This is where you have to understand how your openings transition to middle games. Well, the way to go is attack, 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 baby. Magnus loves pushing those rook's pawns, and the whole point is you want to soften up the black king. All the white pieces going that way. In some lines, the knight rotates to h2 and g4. Not in this game, but some awesome attacking themes that can happen. h6 is played, natural structure. This is a key pivot square for white, and after knight c4, bishop a6 now comes on the board, pin into the queen. It's a little bit awkward, not terribly awkward, bit like Magnus Carlsen's basketball faces, you know, they're tolerable, but just ever so slightly awkward, bit uncomfortable to look at. So Magnus deals with it immediately, not the basketball faces, but the queen, brings it to e4 here, and now we see rook d7. Preparing to stack the two towers, Tolkien would be proud. And now I love this, the bishop tucks back to f1 here. I mean, that's just lovely. It's like Granny's homemade crumble. Ever so delicious. And now we see the second rook stack onto the d file. Magnus gets right in the way of the cannons, blasting. What's he playing at? Well, his threat's bigger. Got to be dealt with. So g6 played to block out the queen bishop battery. Now we see bishop c2, tucking back from the rook attack. And this move is now a bit trigger happy, but it's really tough. because h5 is on the way, and if you go g5 in response, then you open up this check. What to do? The engine finds this bishop b7 craziness, then there's tactics with moving these knights out the way, or knight d4, I forget the line, and you open some counterplay, but it's really tough. What do we see from you? Well, h5, given the miss, because you weaken the dark squares, but like said, there were big threats. What does Magnus do though? Not play knight g5, top move of stock squid, he instead goes for the more direct pawn to g4. Gary the debt collector banging down the door. They're a dying breed here in Britain. If you know a Gary, give him a hug. We've not had one born here since 1991. Incredible stuff. Now we see takes on g4. Given the miss, why is that? Okay, the engine again wants to bring the bishop back, or knight c to b4, counterplay stuff, but not played. We see takes, the queen hits the danger zone here, and look at the black king getting ripped to shreds. The kimono's about to be lifted, so we see takes on c4, distracting the white queen. Just in time then for king g7 and rook h8, but Magnus not hanging about, he plows forth with the h-pawn. Harry doing the business over there, so we see takes on h5. It's ugly, but so are all the other choices, and now king h1. Getting out the way, freeing up the cannons to join the party. Rook h8 comes to defend, and you here wants to scurry away, save his king. We see queen e4 from Magnus, king f8, good move, rook g1, and now you've just got to run for the hills, run for your life. Shout out to the Iron Maiden fans out there. But what does you play? Knight to a5, and you know what they say about a knight on the rim. It's a terrible waste of space with no prospects that needs to reevaluate its life. Very common catchy chess saying. This is the problem with playing that Magnus can now bring all the forces into the danger zone, and here comes the cavalry. Right in there, you have to actually take with the bishop, give up the dark squared control. It wasn't played, queen c6 instead, looking for tactics down the long diagonal, but look at the reaction of Stock Barnacle over here. +5 for white, but only if you find one move and one move only. There's one ring to rule them all. Can Magnus find it here? Can he be a Frodo? Yes, he does. He plays the move, well done if you saw it, of knight takes on f7, crashing through. If in doubt, just sack something on f7. And the king cannot take, or else the queen comes in. King goes back, this check distracts the rook, and you can actually deliver a mate like this. This one serving as an uncomfortable lapel on the king's shoulder, blocking the escape. So the rook stepped up, it was attacked by the knight. It hits this knight here, but it leaves itself undefended. You know, can't you just take here? Surely a great move. Well, this is the tricky point of Christopher. You can go knight f6, discovered check, still white's actually winning, not the end of the line. You can go bishop e4, counter hit the queen, supported by this. This is the top line here, you know, queen takes, knight takes, but white's won an exchange, doing well, should still be winning. But okay, no need to go in for that. Magnus did not take the rook. He played another move, a much more swashbuckling one that leads to mate in 5. Can you find it? If I give you 10 million seconds, very well done if you found the move of rook g8 check. What a beautiful double sacrifice if accepted, and this time of course you have to. Well, or take the knight, which also leads to a checkmate. This is the point now, you take the rook with check, king sidestepping, now you bring in the bishop, king going once more, and this of course is a very simple checkmate, landed on the board. Magnus doesn't take down Christopher only, he takes down the entire tournament. Wins title Tuesday, late edition. Ali Reza won the morning one. Really exciting day of fast chess. I hope you enjoyed. For another incredible game of chess, check out the video on screen, and don't forget to smash subscribe to never miss a video. Cheers.